So for Muslims, our biggest evidence to accept Islam is true would be the Quran, the acceptance of the Quran as a miracle that there's no fault in it and it cannot be proven incorrectly.
Or if I just write on a piece of paper right now, John Steele is 6'2" and extremely handsome. Well, there's no error in that, and so therefore it's from God.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another debate video. Today's guest came onto Big John Steele's live stream with confidence, carrying the Quran like it was Excalibur. He had Petra's caves, giant builders, prophecy timelines, and even fashion critiques of modern women. But let's just say Big John didn't need a giant hammer. Just a few simple questions, and the miracles suddenly didn't look so miraculous anymore.
I believe in Islam and I defend it because I genuinely believe it's the truth. So what I base that off is, for example, the manuscripts we have received are carbon dated back to the time that we believe. So in Islam, we believe in a final prophet called Muhammad. Peace be upon him.
So just for the sake of time, I know what Islam believes. Cool. Instead of you just go ahead and tell me why it's true.
That's fine. So it's carbon dated. The Quran, a passage was carbon dated to the time of the Prophet. Okay. And it was learnt through memorization and it was kept and secured up until now. So what was memorized before, during the time of the Prophet, has not been changed up until now. And that is one of the miracles that we believe in within Islam, that it hasn't been changed and there are no faults within it. And to this day, from what I know personally and from my own research, there hasn't been any viable defects within the Quran that someone can say is incorrect.
Okay, so what?
What is it you're asking me to defend? Sorry, because I'm not trying to attack Christianity.
How does that make Islam true?
How does it make it true? Because of the miracles that happen. So in my opinion, if I'm defending it against an atheist, my statement to them was, if you were to go into a desert and you were to see a mobile phone there, something small as a mobile phone, even though you haven't seen the person that made that mobile phone, you'd know that mobile phone has a creator, yes?
Yeah, that's the original teleological argument, the clock argument that nobody really uses in philosophy anymore because it can be explained away by evolution.
Okay.
And I don't know how that gets you to Islam.
So for me, Islam, we believe in, of course you already know, but Islam is true because the evidences are there. There are things that have been prophesied.
Yeah, what are the evidences?
So for example, prior to the 21st/20th century, there have been predictions made that have come true.
Yeah, so you keep giving me like vague references to ideas of what would be considered evidence. I'm asking for like a specific evidence. What is the evidence?
Okay, so for example, the increase in women being clothed but they're naked. So at a time, even whether that's Christianity, whether that's atheism, there was a time during these ages, since history, women used to cover up, but only now in the 21st century, you find women openly naked.
Yeah, that's just not true.
Is it not?
No, because like a lot of African tribes, women do not wear a lot of clothing, mainly because of the heat. This is why, like, if you read like National Geographic, they'll be like topless, and this has happened for like a large portion of history. So you could basically say that this is true, but look at any culture. Some cultures covered up, some cultures didn't, and at any point in history, this would have been true. So this is just a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So this one was talking about the vast increase of it, not the fact that it wasn't there before, but the vast.
Yeah, there's going to be a vast increase simply because population grows.
Okay, in terms of, for example, where we believe that there was a tribe of giants as well, the nation of Ad. For example, I can't remember if it's in Petra, where they couldn't explain where this technology had come from, in terms of mountains being carved into, in terms of buildings and stuff.
What?
We believe this was done from a nation of giants that used to exist prior to the Prophet Muhammad. So where else would that come from? That wouldn't be from evolution. That wouldn't be from. Where would that come from?
Carving homes in the mountains?
Yeah.
From people.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
get how
but
this
that
is.
that technology didn't exist back then.
What technology?
So have you seen Petra?
So is your argument? So this is just to be clear. I want to steel man your argument. Your argument is that people made great wonders of like built inside of a mountain, and you don't think they had the technology to be able to do it. So therefore, giants did it, and that's what the Quran says.
The Quran says giants did it. I believe that's what what
But just
happened.
yeah, can you just answer if I steel man your argument correctly?
Yeah. That would be one of my arguments, yes.
Right, so just to be clear, your evidence for Islam is you don't know how they built things in the mountain. The Quran says it was giant, so therefore the Quran is true.
Of course.
Do you understand how fallacious that is?
I have many different points. I'm just trying to name them.
That's not a point, my friend.
What point would that be?
That's not a point at all.
Is it not?
No.
So for Muslims, our biggest evidence to accept Islam is true would be the Quran, the acceptance of the Quran as a miracle, that there's no fault in it and it cannot be proven incorrectly. That would probably be my only argument that I am aware of.
If that's true, mm-hmm. then Harry Potter could be the word of God. Or if I just write on a piece of paper right now, John Steele is 6'2" and extremely handsome. Well, there's no air in that, and so therefore it's from God.
Am I allowed to ask you what errors, like, for example? Then again, I don't want to go into the road of attacking Christianity. I'm just thinking, what would be the best way? I'm not the best in speech, so I'm trying here.
You're doing great, man.
I'm not a scholar, innit, bro?
Me either. We're just two dumbasses on the internet talking about what we believe.
Exactly. For another example would be, for example, the conquest of Persia. So it was predicted that Muslims would conquest Persia, and they did so.
It says the Byzantines will be defeated within 3 to 9 years in a battle.
Did that happen?
Yeah. But that's like me saying right now, America is going to lose a battle in the Near East within 1 to 10 years.
Oh, so your argument for that, it could be a very valid guess.
I'm just saying that statisticians do this all the time. So if this is an evidence for God, we have a whole bunch of prophets kicking around.
Okay. I like learning about this stuff. So here I'm reading a passage from the Quran from Surah Al-Furqan 25:33, and so it says here, this is the interpretation of the meaning: and no example or similitude, I think that's how you pronounce it, do they bring to oppose or to find fault in you or in this Quran, but we reveal to you the truth and the better explanation thereof. So from what I'm taking from that, I think the only way to actually denounce and, like, for example, defend Islam is for someone to, like, for example, to find a fault in it. That would be the only way to, for example, to show that it's not correct.
No, because you're assuming you're right by default. Yeah, you've created a standard that no one else holds to, and if no one can disprove your standard, then therefore it's true. That's not how it works. You're not right by default.
What? But if no one has found a fault, though?
That doesn't mean anything. And there are faults. I just don't care about arguing about them. I'm willing to grant your argument and still show you that Islam isn't true, right? So for example, sperm doesn't come from the spine, right? That's one thing that it gets wrong, and a sun doesn't set in a muddy puddle.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's what it says. But I don't want to argue that. I'm just going to grant you it doesn't say that, because you're gonna do some mental gymnastics to show me that it means something that it doesn't actually mean.
I genuinely, I have a very open mind, bro. I'm not.
You seem like you do, but like you can't sit up here as a Muslim. You're not going to tell me that there's a corruption there. right? I know you're not going to do that. So I'm just going to grant you that there is no corruption and error in it. So what?
Bear with me. Sperm from spine. Okay, so this is just based off Google, and I don't always accept what's on Google, but I'm just reading. So the Quran refers to sperm for gushing water originating from between the backbone and the ribs in Surah At-Tariq.
Yep.
That's the one you're referring to, yeah?
Yep.
Critics say this contradicts science, which states semen is made in the testes and stored in the scrotum. However, proponents explain that the testes and ovaries initially form in this region during embryonic development before migrating, or that the nervous and vascular connections to the reproductive organs originate there, and that the verse does not necessarily mean the semen is produced there. This isn't. I had no idea about this, but based off what it says there, I could still. You get me? It's not really incorrect because science has been proven wrong.
Because God is very vague and doesn't get things specific, right? God gets rough ideas of concepts that are technically true but not specifically true, right?
Not really.
Well, that's what you're saying, right? God technically it produced inside the womb at this point, so technically it's correct. Why isn't it specifically correct if it's from God?
I'm gonna write these. Do you go live a lot?
I go live all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna screenshot your account. Yeah, I enjoy having these conversations because I really want to do my research on this kind of stuff. All right. Could you give me some points to research on? So, for example, sperm from the spine, and what was the second one? The murky water.
But I'm just saying, I don't even care. Like, go ahead and believe that the whole Quran has 0 mistakes in it.
No,
that doesn't mean it's from God.
From my side, growing up, obviously I've accepted this religion to be true. So these points I do want to look into. So you said, am I allowed to take your points so I could actually research them, please?
Do you know the website Answering Islam?
No, I don't.
Go to answeringislam.org and you're going to find literally hundreds of issues, including the Quran not being perfectly preserved, differences between the Hafs and the Warsh texts, and 5 others. You're going to find non-miracles, things where it gets wrong in history. You're going to find the Quran takes from other sources. So, for example, it takes from the Gospel of Thomas. It literally quote mines and steals what they said, even though we know that Gospel of Thomas is a forgery. You're going to find all sorts of issues. So if you're genuinely curious, go to the website, look at the notes that they presented, and compare it to other sorts of apologetics that you think work.
Cool. I'll do that. It was nice meeting you, bro. Genuinely, I have a very open mind, and I'd want to learn. And if I do have a answer for this, what are you live every day, same time?
Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, same time.
Cool. I look forward to speaking to you again, bro.
All right, man. God bless. Thanks for being cordial.
Cool. Love.
You know, what I like about this exchange is that it wasn't a shouting match. The Muslim brother came in convinced, but left curious. That's progress. Because here's the truth. If your book says sperm comes from between your ribs, or that the sun takes a dip in a muddy pool, maybe the claim isn't divine precision, but human guesswork dressed up in holy robes. And this whole challenge of the Quran? Imagine I write a book saying, you can't prove me wrong unless you make a better book. That's not divine authority, that's just bad debating rules. But hey, the guy admitted he's open-minded. And that's where truth begins. When you stop defending and start investigating. Big John showed him that the strongest faith isn't afraid of questions, it welcomes them. So remember this, confidence without knowledge is just noise, but curiosity, that's the seed of wisdom. If you enjoyed this clip, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more debates broken down. Until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and stay tuned.